আজিকালি দুনিয়া বেশি আগে যায় আছে আর এডুকেটেড মানুষ খান আলাগ আলাগ সেক্টরে ভেঞ্চার করে আছে ইতো নিশা নাগাল্যান্ডে বি বেশি এডুকেটেড ইউথস খান বি সরকার কাম ভাবনা নকরি কিনা বিজনেস নহলে বি আলাগ ফিল্ডে ইন্টারেস্ট দেয়া দেখি পায় আছে নাগা মানুষ খান ট্যালেন্টেড বেশি আছে কিন্তু আইডিয়া বি না থাকি কিনা থাকে আজি ইউথ খান কোনবা ফ্যাশন ডিজাইনিং দে ইন্টারেস্ট থাকে খান কারণে হর্নবিল টিভির বা এক্সক্লুসিভ ইন্টারাকশন একটা আনি আছে স্টেট বাহার দে মানুষ খান নাগাল্যান্ডে ল্যান্ড অফ ফ্যাশন বি মাতে আর নাগা মানুষ খান ফ্যাশন ডিজাইনিং দে ইন্টারেস্ট থাকা বেশি আছে কিন্তু স্টার্ট করবলে আইডিয়া না থাকি কিনা বি আছে এটা দুনিয়াতে স্পেশালি নাগাল্যান্ডে ডিজাইনিং লা স্কোপ কিনগা আছে হর্নবিল টিভি লোদে নাগা রিনাউন্ড ফ্যাশন ডিজাইনার্স ব্যাম্বি কেভিচুসা আর থেজা সেখোসে আছে আইবি সাবা
Hornbilltv ite ere well-known designer ekjun Bambi Kevichesa lore ase bon aji ere Nagaland Tailors Association khan bra workshop kam itu presentation organize kurala 2 din karne attend kurila ase aru itu program de Hornbilltv bra ere two famous designers Bambi Kevichesa aru Theja Sekose tai jun ge kotha kurina Nagaland de designing laga itu kineka ja ase scope khan hoilibi aru kiman active hoigena ja ase itu khan hoilibi kotha kuri gire jawo hi first of all how are you feeling we heard you give your this thing story also your life how it went about and how you got into designing also how was it like in attending and seeing all these young budding designers
first of all I was very encouraged because to see so many young people getting into the business or into the clothing business is something that is very encouraging because you know back in our days there was like hardly anyone and now to see young people deciding to take it up as a career I think they're here because they're serious about it and they want to make it as a career so I was very encouraged although I think most of them were girls, young girls, yeah.
Exactly. Right now, when we are seeing in stalls and you know people presenting clothes, also most of them are like just female wear only. So we'll get to that later. But firstly, one thing I want to talk about is you started from rags, which many people do not know about. How was the journey like? I feel like you know mostly 80% designers will relate to you when you spoke to your story, also your life story. How was it like, and what would you tell budding designers?
You know, I always tell people, any young people, I say, if I can make it, anyone can make it. Because I said also, even though my family I come from a middle class family, I think, or a comfortable family, I think my struggle, I wanted to make it my own. And so, like you were saying, almost starting from rags and dealing with rags, you know. So I think when I tell young people about my story, I feel that you know, all it takes is determination. All it takes is hard work and commitment. I think you may have talent, you may be very good at designing and all that, but if you're unwilling to go through the mud and the mire, to go through the struggle, to go through putting in 8 to 12 to 14 to 16 hours, at least in the beginning, I think it's not easy, you know, and I think that's the thing with every profession as well. But in our trade, because I can speak for my business, my trade, I think you have to put in a lot of hard work. But for me, on the other hand, it's also easier when you have the passion. So when you have the passion, even if you're putting in the extra work, you're still enjoying it. So I call it pain and pleasure. So you're suffering, but at the same time, you also get a lot of pleasure creating beautiful things. Yeah.
One statement I got from you that really you know intrigued me was you were embarrassed when you started your career as a designer. And do you think we have come ahead because right now the young budding designers have good role models like you and not forgetting Theja Sekos and many others also, and you have actually set a spot for yourself. So do you think the situation is the same like right now, or do you think things have evolved and changed?
It's totally changed now because before it was never looked upon as an industry. It was more an entertainment. A fashion show was where like you know beautiful girls and guys would line up and walk and you know big shots would come and watch, and I used to hate that, but that's changed now it's an industry. People want to do fashion shows not just to entertain but to sell their clothes, to sell their brand. People are selling their clothes now, so that has really changed. And therefore, you know, for me, I was embarrassed because I took how do you say, the people's opinions I considered more important than what I was called to do, and I think that was wrong. You know, I was immature or whatever, but I think now, you know, young people are proud of what they do. And now fashion designing is not just, I'm not going to say not just, it's now not a career where it's just entertainment, where it's just young, beautiful people walking around in beautiful clothes. Now it's really becoming an industry, and it, most people may not recognize it, but really, maybe, when you see weddings and all that, the clothing has become one of the main industries, even, yeah, so.
Something I'm really curious about as a layman when it comes to designing and clothes. Why is it that most of the clothes being sold are that of female, and why is it that we are seeing only majority female designers, if you have any idea?
See, first of all, I think women are more adventurous when it comes to fashion, so there's more variety in women's clothes. Men's clothes is generally a little, I call it a little boring, unless you're designing for entertainers or people who are a little adventurous. But I also believe, and I hope that that will change, because as younger people, or as people become more adventurous in their clothes, it will become more fun designing for men as well. So I think generally that, and also but men's construction is also a little different from female wear, the garment construction, and sometimes it's also more tedious, I think. And yeah, I think generally designers, like even me, earlier on, I used to not really like designing menswear because I found it boring. But yeah, so I think that's generally, maybe that's why,
And another question is, see, you graduated and only years later you found out that you were interested in designing. One statement you gave your dad was, I wasted your money and at the same time you wasted your time. Would you encourage students who are interested in designing and other professions to study or to straight away go for whatever they want? What's your suggestion on that?
First of all, for me, the passion was always there. But the will to pursue what I wanted, the courage to pursue what I wanted, that came much later, And for me, I always say, if you're not going to go into a teaching profession, or if you're not going to go into, like exams and, really going into competitive exams or things like that, then for me, maybe people may not like what I'm saying, but I feel that a general BA and all are a waste of time. If it's better to get skilled, because having skills, I always tell people, nobody can take it away from you. And having skills can really help you earn a living, Whereas with a BA degree, it's difficult to even get a job with a BA degree. Yeah.
So my last second question, where do you think the people sitting at home and watching you, but finally a thought strikes them and they're like, okay, I want to go for designing. What would you suggest now? Where should they go? What do they do?
I feel that first of all, an education is important. Sometimes, I cannot say 100% you should go get an education, because there's some people who get into designing who are already who without any training, and they are successful, but that's very rare. And I think having an education, how the industry works, first of all. You know how a fabric behaves. You know how to cut. And you know how to deal with your tailors as well. Like just one example, when I'm working with my tailors and one of them would say, it will not work. And I would say, it's going to work because I know it, because I have studied it. So, so I feel if a young person wants to pursue a career in designing, at least get trained in tailoring. Not so much, not designing, but I think tailoring is more important. Yeah.
Lastly, words of encouragement for the upcoming generation, be it whatever they wish to pursue.
You live only once. So pursue what God has placed in your heart. Pursue your passion, because you can't live for someone else. You have to live your life living and pursuing the dreams that has been planted in you. So have courage and go for your dreams.
Hornbill TV, ite ere well-known designer Teja Sekose lode se bishi years sushe tairo fashion industry re tai laga nam itu mark diwo pare ado tai Nagaland ekla de well-known no hoy holibi entire India de holibi tai la nam do bhal designer ekta la nam jani jai aro tairo designing do khali itu western style la no in ethnic wears kan bi alag man agiri bi jaine tai la dukan kan di tai la itu kapra han dekha tha khan la bi dekhai she. Hey, it's so nice meeting you here finally, and seeing getting to meet a well-known person when it comes to designing. And I think you were one of the first Nagas who set a mark when it comes to designing and taken people there. Yeah. So how is your journey right now? How is it going?
I mean, it has been tough for sure, but it has been a very memorable and it has been a learning process, so to say. So I'm really enjoying and really grateful for all the people, the supporters, my clients, family, and most importantly, of course, God. Yeah. Thank you.
So we have always been hearing about how I said it again and again, but you have made a mark in the designing world. How was it like, were there struggles like Bambi also, she was saying that she started from the ranks. How was your struggle like, and a very new profession, choosing this as your full-time career? How was it like?
Yes. So initially, if I may say, I come from a very humble beginning. So both my parents are illiterate and farmer, but I'm really thankful that they are the very broad-minded 21st century kind of parent. So I'm so grateful that they could understand. And the profession, the time when I started pursuing, it was very new. And for a man to pursue such has it has been quite a struggle, so to say, but I'm so grateful, my parents were very right on and have really supported me. And yes, they were as I've mentioned earlier, they were quite many up and downs in life for sure. But yeah, I'm grateful I'm here today because of my hard work and dedication. Also at the same time, like mentioned again earlier, through the support of many people and by the grace of God, of course. Yes.
All right. So when you chose this career, who were the people supporting you and who were the people against it?
Yes, of course. Again, all thanks to Almighty God, of course, and my parents' family, they were truly supportive of it for sure. Also, there were many people who, yes, the society, yes, at large, so to say, cousins also, and near and dear ones as well. Not necessarily behind my back, but even in front of my face also they would laugh. And a son of a farmer, pursuing such a field and everything. So I was a laughing stock, so to say, for a certain period of time. But today, again, I'm so grateful and humbled that I'm in this position today. So yeah.
So being a man and choosing designing, here in our Naga society, those days it wasn't very common, and it might be very difficult for some people to accept also, and people saying it to your face and mocking you and all. How did you take it? How did you handle it? And how did you get across it?
Yes, initially, of course, I mean, it gets to you definitely, but I've always had this feeling inside of me, and I've always thought if God is with me, anything is possible. And no matter where I study, for that matter of fact, I will shine through. So that was what kept motivating me, and yeah, that
is actually very encouraging. Now we'll be talking about designing and Nagaland in general. Where does tailoring, designing stand when it comes to Nagaland and their, high-held thoughts for government jobs? Where does designing, tailoring stand?
Right. So as of today, our designers and tailors, so to say, have come a long way. This profession has been there before, but it has never been upheld to a position where it's a cherished and respectable job. So I'm so grateful to the fashion fraternity at large in general, and we all have come together, and it's a very close knitted community. Okay, so I'm so grateful that everybody is coming forward and supporting each other, building each other, and with that, entrepreneurs, we can see a lot. And even today also, we are witnessing so many established designers and upcoming labels and everything. So we're marching towards a brighter future, if I may say. Yeah.
Obviously, if you are talking about the days of your struggle, definitely you did not give up. So you are here today, and you are what you are right now because you did not give up. Even if you don't say also, that's actually very evident. So how about the younger ones going through that right now and also being confused on what to choose, government job or their passion? What would you say?
Yes, for me, see, government job, it is great. And like, if you aspire to become a government or any civil servant, go for it. But also, if you feel like, you have the entrepreneurial skill, and if you feel, especially concerning fashion designing again, if you think you take you got what it takes to be a fashion designer, go for it. But most importantly, have your proper education. It's very important. It's the foundation of any startup, so to say. Okay, so like have your proper education, and then keep a positive mindset. In today's day and age, competition is at rise. Everybody is doing this and that, and like competition is very tough. It's a very cutthroat industry indeed. So, but despite that, just have a positive outlook towards it and march for it, and like everything will fall into place. Yeah.
Lastly, can you tell us a little more about your training center, and if people want to be trained under you, what do they do?
Okay, so my academy is called TS Academy of Design, and it's a Kohima-based academy. So right now we're offering a 1-year diploma in fashion design, and we are also offering 3 months basic cutting and tailoring course. So when it comes to 1-year diploma course, I myself have designed the syllabus. So like I've designed the syllabus in such a way that like the syllabus taught to the students are very applicable to our Naga society, or like to our Naga market. Also at the same time, not forgetting India at large, and like international for sure, but also like there are so many co-curricular activities which I think are very interesting and are very important. So this 1-year diploma is basically a small window for the students to peep and like have an idea of like what actually fashion industry is all about. Because yes, at the end of the day, after you finish your course and everything, you'll become a fashion designer for sure. But I myself, I try, which is like, I'm a fashion designer, but also at the same time, I'm a fashion choreographer. I groom people, like, I groom boys and girls for pageants. I direct shows and everything. So, like, there are very career avenues that, like, after entering fashion school, you can explore. So, accordingly, I have designed a syllabus in such a manner that, like, they get the opportunity to have a small window for to experience all those things. Yeah. Thank you.
They can reach out to you as well if they wish to choose designing as their career. Yeah. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and thank you for sharing your insight also. So this was Hornbill TV speaking to the well-known designer, Naga designer Teja Sekose. Moan ina nishna apne ange latest updates kan bi anita yo. Ita garne man hobo. Moi reporter ke Christian ke ho with camera person Pangloi for Hornbill TV Kohima.